Just 1 week after our oldest son was born, I had to go back to work because I had no parental leave and almost no vacation time. But when I got to work, I got called into a meeting and told that our entire department had been eliminated and I no longer had a job. So I went back home after only a couple of hours and told my wife that I'd been laid off. And I love her response. She was confident that everything was going to be okay and actually just excited that I was going to get to spend more time on this transition to having a new baby. Those next weeks of having a new baby and not having a job were some of the hardest and also some of the very best of my life. I wouldn't trade them for anything. And it turns out that not only was the layoff a huge blessing because of those weeks, but also because when I went back to work, found a new job, I actually found a job that was making twice what I'd been making before. I had accidentally stumbled onto one of the biggest career cheat codes that I know. And I want to share that cheat code with you today. Side note, I am super glad that I took a big swing when I told the recruiter my salary expectations. Growing up, I had a vague idea that some jobs paid better than other jobs, but I didn't realize until it happened to me that the exact same job can make significantly different money depending on what industry or what company you're doing it for. In my case, my new job was quite similar to my old one, but now I was doing it for a bank. So that's the cheat code. Do the same job, but for an industry that values it more. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics publishes occupational employment and wage statistics. If we go here, and then here, and then here, we can download a ton of data. Now we'll add some filters and quickly start to see some interesting proof of this idea. Did you know that in the United States, the median salary for a customer service representative working in utilities is nearly twice that of those working in casinos and amusement parks? A human resource specialist working in publishing can expect to make 42% more than one working for a hospital. You could be doing the exact same job, but change the industry you do it for, and your income will meaningfully change. If you're a training and development specialist for a food and beverage retailer, making bottom 25% money, you could hustle and claw your way up to making top 25% money. But that raise from making that climb would be only 1/7 of the raise that you could get by doing the exact same job for a utility while still being in the bottom 25%. Now, you might have heard that tech workers make good money or have ideas about how good it is to be a man in finance. But tech companies don't just need programmers, and finance companies don't just need 6'5" men with blue eyes. Even the HR specialists at those companies make more money. So, how do you target the right industries in order to maximize your income potential? It just starts by knowing that this bigger game exists. Now that you've heard about this cheat code, you can't unhear it, and you're already primed to look at things differently. On top of that, I can give you some rules of thumb, backed up by my experiences and by the data. Tip 1, go to industries and companies that make a lot of money. A prosperous company can pay more for talent than one that's barely scraping by. Tip 2, consider boring industries instead of sexy ones. Utilities were consistently at the top of the income charts. Tip 3, decide how much you want to sell out. I'm not saying you can't take a lower salary to work for a church, your favorite sports team, or a museum, but you should know that that's what you're doing. Tip 4, go where your particular talents and role are more valuable or crucial or essential to the business. Tip 5, go where it's harder to do your job versus easier to do your job. Think working for a wholesaler NPR versus working for a hotel NPR. Tip 6, go where they have high standards. Put all these things together, and the top 10% of accountants and auditors working in publishing make almost 3 times what median accountants and auditors in the truck transportation industry do. And the top 10% of web developers at computing infrastructure providers make almost 4 times what the median web developer at a niche retailer makes. Now, for those top earners, the role is probably a lot harder. It might be more boring. Maybe they feel like they had to sell out and they have to fit in at a company with aggressively high standards. But in return, they make 3 to 4 times as much for the same role. And there's a whole range in between. You just have to pick how much you want to turn each dial and what trade-offs work for you. And yes, you have to do the work to go out and get a new job, but can you catch the vision? Doesn't it seem more doable to find another job like your current one, but in a better paying company, rather than needing to change careers entirely to get ahead? I hope this helps.